everyone. My name is Olena,
Hello, and my name is Yuliya. Greetings.
and this is podcast Coffin Projects. No one will come to write your story. And I'm super excited because today we have our first, really very first episode in English. Yulia, how about you? Are you excited today?
I am very excited, so thanks for inviting me because I have been waiting for this first episode for a while.
Yes, and before we start, I just want to introduce shortly myself and my guest as well. So, my name is Olena. I'm a freelance coach and I'm running digital marketing agency. In my daily life, I help people to shift from corporate to freelance and start their freelance remote job after they quit from corporate career. Yulia, share your background, please.
Yeah, thank you for giving me the mic. Actually, freelancing is something very hot today. I think everyone will be interested in what we are discussing here. So, a couple of words about myself. My name is Yulia. Thanks, Elena, for inviting me. I am based in Kazakhstan, but was born in Lithuania. I'm a consultant and a CEO of a small consulting boutique company based in the Central Asia. And apart from that, I also take active part in developing different management professions across the world. For example, project management, give me high, give me five.
Give me
Yeah,
high.
and strategic management.
Yes, and for all our colleagues from PMI who may watch us today, big greetings. Thank you for joining, and we're very happy to see you and hear any feedback, any questions from you later. All right, so let's start. This, as I told, this is the first initial episode, very first, and the idea is to start today with the topic, which is very hot today. It is very on top, and I've been hearing about that for like a couple of years. So the topic is that truth that women are born to be a project managers? And the thing why this thought is going around is that women were born to juggle and manage million of things like family, kids, relationship, workouts, beauties, career, some business, and that's kind of multitasking skill that comes from the very beginning of life, from the birth. So, Yulia, what do you think about that? Is that true? Is that idea like has the right to be?
Anna, I just hope that all male listeners of our podcast will not turn off the video right now. But this is true. I personally believe that project management is exactly where women can feel, at the right place. Because from very childhood, just as you said, especially in our region, like which is like I don't know, ex Soviet Union or ex-Soviet Union territories, it was like
Mhm.
that. Yeah, we were born to be multitasking. Like society expects from us a lot, starting from being successful in the career, being successful in family, looking good finally, and apart from that, being also an interesting person.
Absolutely.
So children, family, meals, career, work, projects. That is all we do every day, and we balance that, I would say, quite successfully. But apart from that, I would also like to add that women naturally possess empathy. We are very empathetical.
Yes.
We can provide this empathy to people. I also know that there are some scientific researches that say that, yeah, women are more empathetical than men. Sorry, dear gentlemen.
Yes, sorry, dear gentlemen, we love you, we value you, and if you're going to stay with us longer from that episode, that's fine. We're just do make a statement that women are better or men are better. We just right now talking about the initial skills and features that can help women to become a better project management. And good point you caught. Let's talk about the starting point. So um, to make this example more specific, let's say it all comes from the childhood and the family, as you told. I'm totally agree. And in my family, for example, it was the classic scenario where my mother was responsible for everything. So she was responsible for education, for our homework, for our meals, for our food, for cleaning the house, for looking good as much as she could. Yeah. And also, she was responsible for many, many other things like family budget and so on. And my father, from the other side, he worked a lot, but it was more kind of he came home at the end of the working day, he could lie on the sofa, and that's it. So, the job is done, period. And the rest of the family and of the life was on my mother's plate. And I know exactly that a lot of women, for example, from Africa, they are playing this role. A lot of family daily tasks, routine job, a huge job is lying on their shoulders. And there is a statement, by the way, I don't know if you heard that, but I heard that Africa stands on the women's shoulders. It's about
Yes, I have.
you heard, yeah? So, what about you? Is your story sound like that, or you had this exactly opposite childhood?
No, my childhood was actually more or less the same, apart from the point that my father was also allowed to have his hobbies, for example, football, fishing.
Yeah.
But my mom, the opposite, didn't have this time maybe for herself, like because she was definitely overloaded, but with everything else, plus earning money as well.
Yeah.
So just exactly the same situation as you have.
Okay, and this really good that you share that because I think that in your country, where you have a lot of Muslim families, it's the very usual thing that woman does not work, but she like hosts the family, and men work. But you tell that your mom was working as well, not only as a family, but she also had some job and work.
Yeah, and a couple of words to add on top of that is that yes, Kazakhstan, where I'm based currently right now, is really a kind of Muslim-dominated country. Probably it's not about the religion, but mostly about the traditions that are like they go from the very like historical past. But today, the reality, maybe 20 years ago or maybe 30 years ago, the reality has been like women are expected to keep
Mhm.
their duties in all the household
Like
things and
same
family and
duties, yeah, as they
yeah,
were expected to be like 50 years ago in classic.
yeah, but
Hmm.
but plus they are also expected to earn money and
Yeah.
bring something to the plate from the outside of the family. So no one really put this off the shoulders of our Kazakh women.
And that's good to hear, really. And let's talk about that. It's very difficult to be multitasking. We know that for sure. And I would say, even in a simplest words, is it possible to wear many hats? And how many hats can you like wear at the same time? And if we really have to wear the all hats?
Do we have to? Yes, if we want.
And I think it's again comes from the past. Let's say I would share my example. I For a long time of my life, I really was sure that I have to, because my family had some expectations. My company had some expectations. For those who don't know me, I was working in a corporate company in a bank for 12 years and started my career from the first, level of assistant, and then finished with the head of business development department. So this career way for me was not easy, and I had that expectations from my corporate colleagues, from my boss, from my team that I was managing that time. I had expectations from social. Today we had a lot of expectation from the thing that I called social network, like Instagram, TikTok. I think you would agree that when you start scrolling and you see, oh my gosh, how many women can do everything? They are so successful, they are so rich, they can earn money, they can look like movie stars. And that's how we always feel that signals that something or someone have some expectations. So we try and start keeping as many of these balls as we can and jump them down. What do you feel about that?
Well, maybe if it was me like 10 years ago or 15 years ago together with you on the podcast today, then I would say, yeah, society pressurizes us a lot, demands a lot. But now, I'm pretty sure that this is first of all ourselves who demand a lot. So this is ourselves who set up high expectations because, sometimes I practice saying no, and sometimes I even practice failing as a project management specialist.
Yeah.
Funny to say, so that to make this kind of therapy for myself that um, it's okay to be not okay. It's okay to be not always correct. It's okay sometimes not to be in time to wear all the hats
Mm-hmm.
that people are expecting from us to wear, just as you say.
Yeah.
So I would say that yes, definitely I would agree. But still, it depends on our own perfectionism.
Okay.
So naturally, as you say, I have been a perfectionist so much, but now I feel it's more ecological for myself and also for the people who surround me and for my coworkers that
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a perfectionist.
Any longer. Okay. So here is the thing: we don't have to wear all hats, and that's the point that you probably don't feel straight away. And I think if you work as a corporate team member, it's more difficult to get to that thought, to that conclusion, because you literally are responsible only for your piece of job or your piece of project or your like part of that project. But once you start work as an entrepreneur, solopreneur, company owner, you start being responsible of the whole process, and that ball, like career or professional, that ball keeps growing, and that ball keeps bigger and bigger. Okay, so let's then share your favorite tip, how you make this prioritization, how you choose what balls to keep in your hands and keep juggling, and what balls can just be, putting aside and wait for better times, and what balls you don't need any longer. What is your best tip?
This is just an amazing question. To me, I would say I am successful to find two tricks. First is actually the favorite word of any manager, delegate.
Mm-hmm.
So, delegation, I think delegating is something that we really need to consider. For instance, I found out that I am more productive in the things that really inspire me. And of course, there are some things in our lives that do not inspire that much. For me, it's, for example, house cleaning.
Oh
I
yes,
hate
it's
cleaning.
not so inspiring.
So I am yeah.
Not this
So
much.
I'm very
Not as
proud that
inspiring.
I'm using these cleaning services. Yeah. So cleaning services probably really help me out a lot.
Okay.
Apart from delegating, I would say putting ourselves in the first place because so many things to do around, so many people who need our attention,
Mm-hmm.
so many customers who do wait for the response,
Yeah.
immediately usually. But I found out that if a consultant or a businesswoman herself does not pay attention to the health, to physical condition, to mental health, finally, then probably we will be not in, as they say, not in the resource to do anything else because we will have to save our own life. So this always has not, actually, this has not always been the case with me because historically I tended to, forget that I need to take care of myself, that I need to take care of my health. But then, year by year, especially when you get this big responsibility of owning your own business, you really realize that, yes, this is me who should matter first because otherwise nothing will ever exist.
Exactly.
So this second life hack is putting yourself on the first place and doing some, self-care rituals, maybe it's taking some day off. So what about you? How do you manage to, prioritize everything in this busy life?
I did not do that for a long time. As I told you, I tried to keep all these balls and juggling and be good at each ball keeping, if we can say that. So I was trying to keep my house as clean as possible. I was trying to cook some food daily. I was trying to do my best on my social and develop my own company and brand. And the first signal that I had was some health issues. And that's really
Mhm.
was a signal for me that, okay, girl, you need to slow down a bit. You need to take care about comfortable workplace, workspace. You need to take care about your eyes. You need to take care about your body. And body was the first who reacted that something is going wrong. You are taking too much. So it's true that when you start prioritizing yourself, it it's all about moving, workouts, mind health, mind peace, as you told exactly. And I just make a decision that I have to choose myself on the most cases. And you know the story, nothing ruined really, nothing was crushed, nothing was broken. My family kept
Mhm.
living, having only one cleaning in a week, not like two, for example. Or my family discovered that it's okay to have pre-order or frozen food sometimes in a week. That's also fine. And the other thing that happened to me is once I start choosing myself, my things that inspire me, like my business, my coaching program, I see that my kid, for example, he started watching for, like looking at him, looking at his mom in a different way. And that's the other topic. It's like not maybe the topic for that particular our video, but it's very deep topic. Like kids are driving us for changing, for us for making us better. Of course, we want to share example. We want to be an example. And you know, it's a good phrase. You can tell 1 million times what to do, but your kid will be reflecting what you really do instead of what you're telling. So yeah, I started prioritizing myself. And my second tip is schedule. So I'm super disorganized person naturally.
I cannot believe that.
I like do nothing. I am so good at that. I like to sleep long. I like to be on my sofa. I like to scroll my phone. I like that things because that's so easy, you know, and you don't have to communicate. You don't have to do something. You just have to do nothing. I love that. Really, I love that. Yeah, and if I don't have my schedule fixed, and I'm an old school person, I just have a paper schedule when I have my calls, meetings. My daily schedule helps me a lot. And that's my tip number one. So let's say I have a schedule for first 2 hours from my morning, I do workout. Then I go to gym. Then I do work on that project. Then I have time with my family. Then I do some cookings, and then I devote these hours for that project or for that company or for that activity, and that helps. That keeps me on track, really. What about you?
You
What?
know, Elena,
Yeah,
I just wanted to tell that please don't forget to include some coffee into your daily schedule.
yeah, I do. When I keep my schedule, I do include that. What about you? How is your good at building schedule? Because why I'm asking, a lot of people start doing scheduling. They start and they leave the schedule 1, 2, 3, and then discipline goes down and schedule is over. What about you? How what is your tips for scheduling your time?
Well, actually, your point has made me think that people are all so different, and it's good. It's good because naturally, for example, I'm also a big planning bug. I love planning. From my very childhood, I was very disappointed if my plan didn't work out.
Hmm?
So from that little planning bug, I have this. I still, use this
Paper.
old school methods of scheduling. Yeah, I tried some apps, but for me, it didn't work. I prefer really scrolling my, Instagram, as you say.
Yeah, it's something cool that when you start writing, I think it's something more like you make better input when you write something down. That's like how it works for me.
That's true. And apart from that, I also noticed that sometimes this, heavy planning just mm, seems to me as a burden. So at these moments of time, I usually just put off my notebook. I
Mhm.
just take my laptop and go wherever I need to go during the day, the work day, and I have my laptop with me. And whenever there is any, force majeure, will have to go, and that's a priority, then you just go, you have everything with you. And so to me, the success factor is actually a combination of
Mhm.
planning and sometimes a little bit of chaos.
Yeah. And in this case, I can't say that flexibility is crucial skill that project manager, entrepreneur, solopreneur should have in order to balance all that balls. Because what I
Oh
noticed
yeah.
is that regardless all multitask that right now can be on your plate. Right now, the one ball can be bigger, like your own project or your project at your corporate job, or when you start, shifting or moving or changing your career. This ball can be bigger and rest can be smaller. But it does not mean that you should throw away all others and keep only one. Unfortunately, we can't do that because we're all human. But the crucial skill of project managers if is flexibility. If you can like combine the sizes of that ball and clearly understand that today this ball is more important, but tomorrow it all can change. So
100%.
flexibility, I would agree that that's the top skill for project managers today. I mean, soft skill. And again, let's say that women are more flexible than men from by default. I don't say that today it's like the feature of all women, but by default and by nature and by historical traditions and family, women should have be more flexible in order to make this balance, to keep family. You know, that's how I feel. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I completely agree with this. Flexibility is our everything. I don't know from where it all, originated by nature, as you say, or maybe by character, or maybe again by the way we were raised up. But yeah, we are more flexible, more empathetical. But at the same time, if needed, we can plan. If discipline is needed, we are disciplined, and we can discipline others as well, right?
Yes, exactly. Okay, so let me ask you a short question. What's yours? Motivation or discipline?
Motivation for discipline.
Motivation
Oh,
for
this is a very good, actual philosophical question. To me, I would say it's loving what you do.
loving what.
So if you love what you do, if you love your business, if you love your freelancing or consulting, that's going to be the best discipline thing that can really motivate you because this is love. We do everything out of love. What about you?
I would say discipline for me, based on what steps I accomplished so far and what was my life path was. Discipline helped me to get further, to achieve more, to get better results, to make myself better and to be where I am right now. I'm not a person who can do a thing only based on motivation. For me, motivation just may end very often like it's a waves. Some disappointments come, some circumstances come, and I just cannot be far away and constantly motivated. And then discipline comes to me, and I have this in my mind. Just show up, keep going, and that's how you can achieve more. That's like what
Uh,
I see.
yeah, I completely support this idea that sometimes we need, to, as PMI says, aim higher. Like this is one of the project management institute cultural values. But I would also add something more, I would say, specific, like money.
Mhm. Yeah,
Because money is important for, self actualization of any person. Money can provide everything for the people you love. So I wouldn't underestimate this thing as well.
absolutely. Yeah, financial side is important. We all do our work projects and we have that financial income at the goal as the goal. And I totally agree with you. Because right now everything costs something. So we should take care about that. Okay, so we really touched so many topics besides that. Women are good project managers. And just at the summary in the bottom, I really want to share my summary of that conversation with you today. So you do have to wear many hats. And it's not because you're a woman or man. It's just because we have that very speed, very dynamic life today. And you have to wear many hats, being on human with family, being a corporate team member, being a solopreneur, being a personal brand, like trying to develop a personal brand, being a volunteer as we do in PMI, being a good in some sports and workouts, being good at a hobby. So right now it's normally to wear many hats, but you don't have to. And you always have a right to make prioritization, to prioritize you, to prioritize things that you are inspired with. And it's okay that some people do not understand that, do not get that, and do not agree with that. And it's okay if some people just step aside for that period of time because they do not understand how you start prioritization any longer, or they just don't get that. So that's my bottom line. What about you? How do you feel if we come to our topic? Women, project managers in team, is it good or bad? And like how to be okay with not be okay with multitasking.
Well, first of all, definitely take any woman as a project manager to your team. That's going to be an amazing asset, just naturally. Then, secondly, if you are a woman in project management, then be brave, go ahead, set boundaries, and set priorities.
And prioritize yourself. Yeah,
Yeah,
that will be our answer.
definitely.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for this episode. I was very excited and happy, Yuliya, to have that conversation. And this is a project which is called Coffee and Projects. And as a reminder for all who joined us today, thank you. No one will come to write your story. So join us for next videos and let's write your story together. Bye for now.
Bye bye.